living this life.
No, it really is. So I just got a text from my wife. She's it's a text to me and her mom. She said, "I'm divorcing Jaceel, mom. A blog has accused him of cheating on me. So I'm done." Like, that's what I'm dealing with in real life. Like, in real life, see what it says? Yep, the girl who used to work for him. So this is what I'm really dealing with. And that's I'm gonna be as transparent as I could be, because this is what happens when you play like this. You play on people's lives. You play on whatever they may be dealing with, and they have to deal with real circumstances. So this is what I'm dealing with this morning.
Young Jock and Kendra's marriage once looked like the fairy tale love and hip-hop fans had been rooting for. The grand wedding, the fresh start, the picture-perfect beginning. It all seemed like a dream come true. But behind those closed doors, the cracks were far deeper than anyone imagined. And now, Jock has finally had enough. He's thrown Kendra out and officially called it quits. So what exactly went wrong? What took this couple from romance to rupture, from vows to heartbreak? Let's dive into the shocking truth behind their split.
Because as a man, guess what? I got to stand on mine too. Because guess what? Let me say something. I didn't go to college. Guess what?
Fine.
I want my kids to go to college. So we can say that right now. I don't want them to go that direction. I want them to go to college. I can say that with you too.
Right.
But don't sit here in front of the world, in front of a medium, and say, "Oh, I wouldn't want my son or your sons to be like you." Hold on. No, we gotta you gonna put some respect on my name, because at the end of the day, I'm successful. I take care of my kids.
Okay.
Ain't none of my kids out here in dire need of love and support. So we ain't gonna do that, okay? Because I don't appreciate that. Because there's some things about you that I could say I wouldn't want my daughters to do.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna do that. I respect you and I love you enough.
I want this magazine to know
no. I
what
respect
it is about
integrity.
me. You don't want your daughter.
I'm not gonna do that.
Like,
I'm not gonna do that.
Be my guest.
I'm not
gonna be slighted, honey.
I'm not gonna do that. That's where we have.
Young Jock, the Atlanta-based hip-hop star and longtime love and hip-hop veteran, had carved out a name for himself with a blend of musical success and reality TV charisma. Known for his charm and laid-back persona, Jock was already a father of 8 children from previous relationships by the time he crossed paths with Kendra Robinson. Kendra, on the other hand, was everything Jock wasn't: disciplined, career-driven, and fiercely independent. Their contrasting personalities made them stand out, and it was exactly those differences that drew fans in. When they tied the knot in 2021, they seemed to embody the image of a modern power couple, flawed, yet hopeful. But behind the glitz and glamour, a storm was brewing. From the start, their relationship became a central storyline on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, giving fans a front-row seat to the highs, lows, and everything in between. Their chemistry was undeniable, but so was the tension. One of the earliest and most persistent issues? Jock's complicated family dynamic. As a father to 8 children with 4 different women, Jock's past came with a lot of baggage, and that baggage didn't sit well with Kendra. She struggled to reconcile her future with the reality of his already very full life. The thought of stepping into a ready-made family with all the emotional labor that came with it made her hesitant. Kendra didn't want to be overshadowed by Jock's public persona or defined by the chaos of his past. Adding fuel to the fire were the rumors, and in some cases, the confessions, of Jock's infidelity. These whispers haunted their relationship from the very beginning. Love and Hip Hop frequently captured Kendra's visible frustration as she questioned his commitment. Jock, at times, admitted to falling back into old habits, further fueling the speculation. Despite it all, Kendra stood by him, believing that love and patience might eventually lead to change. But fans watching from the sidelines could see it clearly. The trust between them was slowly eroding. Public arguments, emotional confrontations, and tearful moments became common scenes as the cameras rolled. Still, they pushed forward. Their 2021 wedding was pitched as a fresh beginning, a moment to put the past behind them and move forward as husband and wife. Jock appeared to be genuinely committed to making the marriage work. Kendra, meanwhile, remained focused on her career, striving to maintain her independence and identity while navigating their new life together. It was an ambitious balancing act, and for a while, it seemed like they might just pull it off. But beneath the surface, a deeper conflict was growing, one that would ultimately break their bond. That conflict came down to one major issue: children. For Jock, starting a family with Kendra wasn't just a desire, it was a non-negotiable. He saw it as the natural next step in building a life together, a way to deepen their bond and create something uniquely theirs. When she told me she didn't want kids with me, that did something to me, Jock admitted in a heartfelt moment. His vision of their future included parenthood, not just as a milestone but as a symbol of their unity. But Kendra had a different perspective. Her career as a lawyer was her priority, something she had worked tirelessly for. The idea of stepping back from that, of putting her ambitions on hold to become a mother, just didn't sit right with her. She made it clear, "I can freeze my eggs for the future. If I want a child later, I'll decide." For Kendra, this wasn't about denying Jock a family. It was about maintaining agency over her body, her timeline, and her dreams. But Jock didn't see it that way. To him, her words felt like a prelude to an exit strategy. Freezing her eggs instead of committing to a child with him felt symbolic, as if she was already planning for a future that didn't include him. It shook him. To Jock, it wasn't just about children anymore. It was about whether Kendra truly saw their marriage as forever. The disagreement exposed a deeper divide, a lack of shared vision and trust that had long been simmering beneath the surface. On the flip side, Kendra saw Jock's insistence as another example of the pressure society often places on women to choose between family and personal success. She wasn't willing to compromise her identity, not for love, not for expectations, and certainly not under pressure. In her eyes, Jock's demands were unfair and outdated. She wasn't saying no to motherhood. She was saying not now. And maybe not on his terms, but for Jock, that wasn't enough. The disagreement over children became a ticking time bomb. And when Kendra stood firm in her decision, Jock saw it as the ultimate betrayal, a sign that they were never truly on the same page. In the end, it wasn't just about babies. It was about broken dreams, unmet expectations, and two people who, despite their best efforts, simply wanted different things out of life. And just like that, the fairy tale ended, not with a bang, but with a quiet, devastating realization that love alone wasn't enough to hold them together.
Oh, Jacelle and I have been in this for a real long time. So, and it's a lot of stuff like you guys are seeing this season where, the whole world wasn't privy to, some of the stuff that Jacelle and I was going through, or the times we separated or that we were broke up. Even while we were engaged or even while I was still wearing my ring, we had moments where it just was not happening. But, and things happened during those times when we weren't together.
The tension in Jock and Kendra's marriage escalated. The emotional distance between them grew deeper. Their disagreement over children, specifically Kendra's firm decision to freeze her eggs and delay motherhood, cut Jock to the core. He felt unappreciated, rejected, and ultimately like an afterthought in Kendra's carefully laid plans for the future. In Jock's mind, marriage was supposed to be about building a life together. But Kendra's fierce independence and her insistence on maintaining full control over her timeline clashed violently with Jock's vision of their union. The emotional fallout didn't go unnoticed. In his growing frustration, Jock didn't hold back. "If you're freezing eggs for someone else, I'm going to do what I want to do too," he reportedly told Kendra. It was a statement loaded with pain, defiance, and a sense of betrayal. For Jock, this wasn't just about when or if they would have children. It was about something much deeper. Whether they were even on the same page about the life they were trying to build. Kendra's choices now felt like barriers, walls he couldn't climb, no matter how hard he tried. The heated conversations that followed were anything but productive. They were laced with resentment, unspoken disappointments, and emotional wounds that had long gone unaddressed. According to sources close to the couple, their arguments became more frequent, more intense, and increasingly personal. Jock felt like he had compromised, made sacrifices, and bent over backward to make the relationship work. But from his perspective, Kendra wasn't willing to meet him halfway. He needed more than love. He needed partnership, alignment, and shared purpose. Kendra, however, felt equally misunderstood. To her, freezing her eggs wasn't a rejection of Jock or of their future. It was a way to preserve her autonomy, to maintain control over her body and her life. Her legal career, which she had fought so hard to establish, wasn't something she was willing to put on hold, not even for marriage. But Jock couldn't see it that way. All he saw was a future slipping further and further out of reach. The wall. Breaking point came hard and fast. Jock realized he could no longer live in a marriage where his needs, goals, and vision for the future were constantly dismissed or minimized. According to insiders, he finally made the call, telling Kendra to leave. It was a shocking moment, even for those who had watched the couple weather storm after storm. But for Jock, it wasn't just a reaction, it was a resolution. He refused to stay in a relationship where he felt undervalued and unheard. Kendra's reaction only underscored how far apart they had grown. She wasn't willing to back down, and she certainly wasn't going to abandon her ambitions or compromise her identity, not for anyone. The split, while deeply emotional, began to feel inevitable. They had fought hard to stay together, but in the end, love alone wasn't enough to bridge the chasm between their opposing visions for the future. Jock and Kendra had once looked like a couple who could beat the odds. But sometimes, no matter how much history or passion you share, two people simply want different things. And when neither is willing to bend, the fairy tale ends, not with a dramatic explosion, but with a painful, quiet realization. They were never truly headed in the same direction.
I don't have to get no explanation to no goddamn body. If you understand, you understand.
Nah, what are you talking about? Like,
that's
how
what it is.
insensitive is that? You
That's
so goddamn big-headed and arrogant. You around here creating babies all over the globe, dropping them off household to household.
All over the globe?
You
What are you
ignorant
talking
enough
about?
to not actually be able to tell my mama, tell my brother. You should answer them.
I would talk to whoever.
Following the breakup, young Jock has shifted his focus toward rebuilding his life and moving forward with purpose. He's thrown himself back into his music, reigniting the creative spark that first made him a household name, while continuing to be a hands-on, devoted father to his 8 children. Embracing the single life, Jock has taken time to reflect on the emotional lessons left behind by his marriage to Kendra. Sometimes love isn't enough. You have to walk away when your futures don't align, he admitted in a candid moment of vulnerability. For Jock, ending the marriage wasn't just heartbreaking, it was necessary. His journey post-split paints a picture of a man returning to his roots. He's leaning into what he knows best, his career, his children, and his own peace of mind. Rather than allowing the pain of the breakup to define him, Jock has remained focused on creating a new, more stable future for himself and for his family. In the face of public scrutiny, he's chosen growth over bitterness and purpose over regret. On the other side, Kendra Robinson has doubled down on the very thing that's always driven her, her legal career. Ambitious, intelligent, and unapologetically focused, Kendra's life post-breakup is a testament to her resilience. She's continued to shine in her profession, pushing forward with the same determination that's always set her apart. Her goals remain intact, her vision undeterred. Kendra's message, especially to women, has been strikingly clear. A woman's worth is not tied to having children, nor is it defined by her ability to fulfill a man's expectations. Her decision to prioritize her own timeline for motherhood isn't just personal, it's symbolic. It reflects a growing sentiment among modern women who refuse to choose between love and their dreams. Kendra's stance has empowered others to honor their own ambitions without shame or compromise. In the end, both Jock and Kendra have taken separate paths, each staying true to who they are. Their story may not have ended in forever, but it did. Leave behind powerful lessons in love, sacrifice, and self-respect. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let go and keep walking toward the future that was meant for you.
After we made our vows to move forward, that we won't even bring any of this up.
Is expected. Young Jock and Kendra Robinson's breakup has ignited a firestorm of debate across social media, and fans are split right down the middle. The emotional divide has sparked intense discussions about love, marriage, priorities, and what it really takes to make a relationship last. On one side, supporters of Jock are rallying behind his traditional view of marriage. They argue that his desire for children and a shared family future is not only valid, but essential in a committed relationship. If you don't want kids, why even marry someone who clearly does? One user questioned. Others echoed that sentiment, saying that building a life together, including parenthood, is a fundamental part of marriage for many. In their eyes, Jock's expectations weren't unreasonable. They were honest and rooted in love. Meanwhile, a growing number of fans are championing Kendra for standing firm and unapologetically choosing her career and autonomy. Her decision to freeze her eggs has become a symbol of modern womanhood, one that challenges the traditional narrative that women must prioritize motherhood over personal ambition. Kendra freezing her eggs is her choice. Women shouldn't be pressured into motherhood if they're not ready, one fan tweeted. Another added, she's securing her future. A woman's worth is not tied to being someone's baby mama. To her supporters, Kendra is setting an empowering example for women everywhere who refuse to be boxed into outdated roles. There's also a third group, those who aren't taking sides, but instead see pain and misalignment on both ends. This is just sad. They clearly love each other, but their goals don't align. Sometimes love just isn't enough, read one heartfelt Instagram comment. This middle ground acknowledges a painful truth. Love and loyalty are never black and white. Jock and Kendra's split has become a reflection of a much larger conversation about relationships, sacrifice, and the cost of staying true to yourself. Their story exposes a reality many couples face. Falling in love is one thing, but staying together requires something deeper: aligned values, shared dreams, and compromise. Without those key elements, even the most passionate love can fracture under the weight of unmet expectations. This breakup isn't just tabloid drama, it's a cautionary tale. It also highlights the power of self-awareness. Both Jock and Kendra made tough personal decisions based on what they each needed. Jock couldn't continue in a marriage where his desire for more children felt dismissed, and Kendra refused to abandon her long-term goals or give up her independence for anyone. Their split is a reminder that sometimes the healthiest thing, too, people can do is let go, even when love still lingers. So now the big question looms. Is love really enough to hold a relationship together? Or do dreams, values, and future goals ultimately matter more? Jock and Kendra's breakup forces us to take a hard look at what truly makes a marriage work, and what happens when two people just can't seem to fit the pieces together. What do you think? Was Jock right to walk away, or should they have fought harder to make it work? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates and deep dives into the real stories behind your eye. Favorite stars. So, what's your take on this emotional roller coaster? Was young Jock right to stand his ground, or was Kendra just protecting her future? One thing's for sure, love alone isn't always enough. But before you go, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to hear what you think. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Royal Celeb and turn on your notifications so you never miss a moment of the drama. This is Royal Celeb, where the truth behind the headlines comes to life. See you in the next one.